Hey everybody, Misty Williams here from Healing Rosie, and I am super excited to do an extra bonus Facebook Live this week.
Yay!
Yes, we are going to talk about an online event that's happening right now, as a matter of fact. And I'm here with my good friend Julia. And
Hey!
hello. She has put together an amazing event, and she's actually using the Health Junkie angle, which is really fun because she considers herself a health junkie, and I'm sure there's many of us in this community that can relate to the idea of being a health junkie. So Julia, why don't you tell us a
You
little
call
bit about
yourself
what
a health
you're
junkie,
doing?
right, Misty?
At times I suppose I could definitely fall into that category for sure.
It's all about we all become obsessed with learning to heal, right? And trying to figure it all out. And I realized over 15 years of trying to figure it all out, I just become this health junkie. I didn't have the big titles or the doctorate in anything, but what I had was real life experience and asking questions and really demanding for my health to improve. And it all goes back to 15 years ago. I was in a car accident. I was told I was going to always live in pain. Picking up my phone would have been nearly impossible and not be in massive pain today. And today I'm moving and grooving like nothing ever happened. Well, I can't really great high heels are difficult, but beyond that,
Right. There's limits. So
there are limits.
tell us a little bit about this, because I actually have a few friends who have been dealing with long-term chronic back pain for 20 plus years. And I'm fortunate that I've never had a chronic pain issue. But one of my good friends from college, he played college ball, slipped a disc back then. Here it is,
Yeah.
25 years later, and he's had so many back surgeries. I think he's probably lost count, lives with chronic daily pain. There's a lot of people that have had stuff structurally go wrong in their body, and they're dealing with pain. So I'd really love for you just to unpack a little bit of your pain story. Like, what did you start doing or trying that really seemed to work to manage your pain?
Well, let's first lay the groundwork for where it came from. I was hit by a car. I was at a dead standstill. She hit me going 60 miles plus an hour, and I walked away from it. And you would have never known I was hurt. A month later, though, the chronic pain started from my feet to my legs to my hands, and my hips were shifted. My pelvic floor was damaged. My knees were, my patellas were shifted, and then my feet were messed up. And then what came out of it was that the nerves and my myofascia had damage. So it was something that when you took a picture on an MRI, I looked great. I went to all the PTs, and they're like, we really can't help you because you can move. But I was moving with pain, right? And it was just this chronic thing of you were crying every night, being like, I can't believe it was so painful to do the dishes. And so I started asking, and I'm so grateful, is that the orthopedic I work with sent me to a naturopath / Chinese medicine master. And she was the one who started talking to me about what is inflammation? How can you increase your diet? What does gut health mean? How could yoga change things? And Missy, just became a trial and error. You peel back the onion, you heal a little, and then you find more of a problem. I did not know that my hips had shifted until 3 years into treating the pain.
That's great.
Yeah. We didn't know that. It was not it. And it was just as I kind of, as we were able to heal or, get to a point of tolerance in one area, another area became very, very clear there was a problem. And it was interesting how the body, it's like you peel back the layer of the onion and the body will just show you where you have to focus on next. And so, after 5 years of working to heal, I discovered that my pelvic floor had massively been damaged. And I know it's not a pretty thing to talk about, but it is the truth. And I think that it's time that we kind of have a conversation about that. And what's that like to live in pain? And I know there's a lot of women who probably are listening in your community that are too afraid to say something about that. And so that started 10 years of therapy for me.
So one of my friends, actually, the one I was alluding to initially that's been dealing with chronic pain, she fell from a trampoline when she was in her early 20s. And she has gone to the doctor and tried all sorts of different pain therapies, including having shots done in her lower back, some of them right to her spine. It's one of those things where the shots work at first and then over time they quit working. It's to the point now where her doctors are basically telling her that she needs to see a psychiatrist, that it's not likely that the pain is actually real. They're saying that she's probably making it up in her head, which from her perspective is like, how is that even possible?
Well, I can relate to that actually.
Excruciating, right?
Yeah, I can relate to that. So I was told that as well. And so I did something called myofascial release, which honestly was like something that was, the way I would describe it is that the deep tissue where the damage happened, we release that memory from there. And I'm not kidding you, it healed.
That's
I have done different energy work, from Reiki to cranial sacrum work, that has absolutely helped. I have had mental health care for 10 years as well. And at the same time, I became obsessed with my diet. What we eat mattered. So I wanted to know what inflamed my body. And if I ate it and I knew it was going to inflame my body, I knew the consequences, right? So that meant I had to become obsessed with what I was putting in my body, because if it caused aches or pains, I didn't use it. Or like wine does for me, at least I know what I'm going to deal with, right? So there's a multi-layer thing, and I will actually agree with some of her doctors and say there was some psychology in there, but there was some trauma that my body was holding on to, that I, up until even 3 years ago, I had some energy work done to release trauma that got it even better. And so our bodies do remember the traumas of our life, and they will manifest differently. I've watched that my mother deal with that in very, very interesting ways, and my body do the exact same thing. And as I've had that work done, it heal a little bit better. But it's all these layers of work that you're doing.
yeah.
I can't tell you there's a magic pill, but what I can tell you is if you are relentless and have a hell no attitude, and you are open to learning from the best, from asking questions to changing things and staying committed to it. Like, I could have left therapy a decade ago and said, this isn't working, when I was doing pelvic floor stuff. But I was relentless in it, relentless in getting therapy a couple times a month, relentless, because I truly believe that my body could heal. Your friend, it sounds like, I mean, I didn't have anything slipped. I just had shifts. So that may be a little bit bigger, right? But I still believe in my heart of hearts, is that everyone can take their pain and reduce it at least by 50% by what we can eat, how we move, how we sweat, the energy release that we do. I truly believe that.
Yeah. So one of the things that is coming up for me as I'm listening to you talk about this is how often the trauma component comes up anytime that we're dealing with chronic conditions. So fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, many of these autoimmune challenges that we have at their core a trauma component. So we experience childhood trauma. We experience trauma in young adulthood. A lot of women experience sexual trauma. And the trauma that we experience, abuse trauma, ends up getting stored in our bodies and creates all sorts of disease because of how our nervous system
Yes.
hanging on to that trauma.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us, I would imagine if it were me and I were putting together your event, I would actually go after the people and the modalities that had been most beneficial for me and make sure.
Yeah, I did.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you and I think alike. So, I went when I was curating the show. My background is, just so you guys know, I come as a Backward award-winning on-air broadcaster. And so I always think about curating a show. I think about, what information are you going to learn? What can you take away? So there's two components that I wanted everyone to take away with. One, I wanted them to learn from different aspects of how I'd heal, because I know that it can make an impact on their body. But at the same thing, I know the other part, Misty, of healing is making sure that we have the finances to heal. Or making sure, because finances can tie into this, because I dealt with all the bills. And so I wanted you to know how you could turn your passion for health into an online business as well, and how you could make an impact, as I've been doing that as well. Because I know that we all are dealt with challenges and we all overcome them, and then we get to help and serve others. Otherwise, man, the pain is just too great to handle, right? So there are different categories. So I started with a group of some amazing speakers who really focus on mindset and vision and the inner health and the spiritual health. We have a couple amazing speakers on that. And these guys, and they actually happen to be men, actually. It's kind of funny. A couple guys that Lance Isios, and he is really amazing in how he works on mindset. And what I realized out of all this is that my mind had to become completely a steel trap to the vision of healing. And that was amazing to realize I had done, but I hadn't even figured that out. It just had to become there. So the next thing I wanted to find out was then about the naturopath space, because that was a space that I played a lot in. So we brought on Dr. Amit, and he's one of the top naturopath psychotherapists. So I wanted to combine the two in the world. And he actually is working in Kenya, and he's built an online business because he wants to serve people in rural Kenya. And so he can build bushmobiles to go out and serve the population. It's really amazing the work he's doing, not only for what he does daily and how he connects what we eat and the psychotherapy behind it, but his bigger why is he sees he needs to heal more people. It's pretty amazing. I also talk with those who have gotten into the primal blueprint space. What does it mean for the different foods, and how does it cause inflammation? I was super fascinated with that. So I have some guests on that. What does intermittent fasting do to help heal us from disease and our gut health? And then specifically those who are obsessed with gut health, like I've become obsessed with gut health as well. And finally, we wrap it up with some of the top experts who coach specifically on the business side of what it means to run an online business in the health space.
I see. Well, this all sounds awesome. Of course, today, which is Friday, my interview is
one and only
That's
Misty
right.
Williams
Right.
rocks the stage.
We're on today.
I know. And you guys, Misty's interview was so amazing for me because I know you guys all know her story, but what I loved about your interview was how raw and real. Like, you just peeled back that curtain and you were like, no holds bar to really serve the community. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's what all of us need, especially as women in this space. Like, there's not enough frank talk.
Oh no, this was a no bullshit
that you deal with as you're trying to heal, and it can be really frustrating and isolating to feel like you're the only one that's struggling. So yeah. So if you guys want to catch my interview today with Julia,
all you got to do is click the link.
Sign up. That's right. If you're watching on Facebook, it's in the status, and if you're watching on YouTube, just look down in the description and check it out. This is an excellent lineup. Julia, how long is this event going for?
It's about 2 weeks long.
Okay.
And you get 2 speakers a day in your email inbox. And don't worry if you sign up a little late, we've got a replay period for it. And this is something I've been working on for almost 90 days like now, you guys. And this really comes from something that was pulling at it was that whisper in my heart for a year, Misty. I've been thinking about doing something like this.
Yeah.
Because if friends call me the health junkie, like at Thanksgiving, my girlfriends are always like, oh, the health junkie's got to make us have something healthy to eat at Thanksgiving.
My dishes are the favorites.
Mine are too.
I make the very best dishes. They're so yummy. And they're the healthiest too. So yeah. I sometimes every now and then I'll take some crap from my family around food, but more often than not, they really love eating it. So.
And isn't that funny? And what you get to do is when you do that, we get to make others like start to see it's not so bad to really cherish our bodies. Right. And I hope that's what we all take away from this show, is that we cherish our bodies. We understand how our story can help others heal, and we're not afraid to go after and create the life that we want with an online business.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, check out the Health Junkie masterclass that Julia is doing. And my interview is today. You can also catch it during the replay period. Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you for having me.
Hello.
Thank you for having me, and Health Junkies. Go have an amazing day.
All right. We'll see you guys.